we did not even organize a screening for Rajinikanth sir. He went and saw it, and he got so moved that he, decided to tweet about it. Or Sachin Tendulkar, we did not organize a screening for him. He saw it and he, tweeted about it. Or a Virat Kohli, or Kamal Hassan sir, he had a 20-minute conversation with me about it. They are comparing it to the run of another film which is running in normal times. They're comparing the run of 83 to that film without even as much as mentioning the pandemic or the restrictions that come with the pandemic or the psyche of the audience that comes with the pandemic. So I think these are things which, as I said, for those who are indulging in that, all I can say is that they're not being true to their profession, because it's just it's dishonest reporting. It's not honest reporting. It's not ethical reporting, and that is how their credibility will be decided ultimately. So I don't know which youth these analysts talk about. As I said, it's very easy to sit and pontificate and give these things. Firstly, I'm sorry to say, a lot of them are film illiterate. So it's for them to just give these kind of just analysis with no sort of backing of it with any research, no backing of it with of any logic. I don't take these very seriously at all. Joke with Balwinder Singh Sandhu, who was the coach of our team, was कि लड़के इतने अच्छे हो गए सर कि एक IPL टीम बना लेते हैं, थोड़ा पैसे मिल जाएंगे.
Kabir, welcome on Bollywood Hungama and a huge congratulations.
Thank you, Faridoon.
So it's being said one of the best reviewed films in recent times, 83.
Gee, I mean, you're absolutely right. Most overwhelming, the reviews, and more than just the reviews, even the reaction and response from the people who are being able to venture into the theaters and see it. So yes, it's been a very overwhelming experience, including some of the stuff that I saw and heard of what you how you described your experience when you saw the film.
No, I've not had such experience as far as a press show is concerned, because my understanding of press shows is that media can be a bit muted in terms of responding. But the way the clappings happened and the way people responded was something else.
Gee, I heard about it. I heard about the media screening, and that was really lovely to sort of hear about that.
And so when you rewind back to all the hard work that you guys went through, because it was a very tedious process of making this film, in terms of, first of all, preparing to become the players and then actually shooting for it in UK. That must have been a long process in itself. Yes. And shooting the playing portions and then editing certain portions from that must have been another journey itself.
It was a long journey. I think the whole process that you're mentioning, Faridoon, was good to close to 2 years in terms of casting. The players, we auditioned more than 2,000 actors for this. There were auditions at various levels. They were auditioned for their cricket. They were auditioned for their acting. First, they had to prove their worth on a pitch that we had created outside the casting director's office. And only when they were good and they showed some cricket ability, they were taken in for the acting audition. Then there was a look test. So it was a long process. But I think the reason why the boys are being appreciated so much on screen and why everybody's saying that they really look like the original team is, I guess, because of the kind of training they went. So some of them trained for more than a year. There are boys who were right arm bowlers like Shahryar, who converted themselves to left-arm bowlers to portray the player, to portray Ravi Shastri. So the joke with Balwinder Singh Sandhu, who was the coach of our team, was कि लड़के इतने अच्छे हो गए सर कि एक IPL team बना लेते हैं, थोड़ा पैसे मिल जाएंगे. Because they were really, and that shows. The way I wanted to shoot the cricket was I wanted to shoot like a cricket match. So I told them, I said, I'm not coming and taking these special shots to make life easier for you. I said, my cameras are 6 cameras outside the boundary line. You guys are playing. And nobody knew on who the camera is, who are we focusing on. So they were always in their character, they were always playing, and they were so good at playing, and that's the reason why everything looked so natural. Not just them, even the West Indies or the other teams, the English or the Australian team.
Right. So when the movie started, so my perception was that they're looking like players, and when it's Kapil Dev, Balwinder Sandhu, Madan Lal, the accent is the jump is there. Kirmani, for example. So all of them, they're looking like players. But my thing was that, I hope that it is not the case. कि यार, well done. You were able to pull it off as players, but maybe film में वो emotional connect शायद नहीं था. ये एक मेरा एक thought आ रहा था, because ये हो सकता है, मेहनत बहुत करी आपने, well done. But when after that the entire trajectory, the way it happened, और एक point of time के बाद में तो मुझे ऐसा लग रहा था कि आप जो हैं कठपुतली के तरीके से आप audience को आप नचा रहे हैं. When you want them to feel ecstatic, you are making that. When you want them to cry, they start crying. When you want them to laugh, they start laughing. And then it is in complete control. So ये जो एक इमोशनल कनेक्ट को लेके आना जो था, आई थिंक बहुत 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 लेवल पे काम किया है आपने, बहुत लेयर्स में काम हुआ है इस पिक्चर में. वो कितना जरूरी था, वो एक इमोशनल थ्रेड जोड़ पाना.
फरीदून, वो ही जरूरी था. Like you said, and you very correctly, I think in a certain sense, hit the nail on the head. कि क्रिकेट तो चलो हमने बना ली, क्रिकेट बहुत अच्छा बढ़िया है, सारे प्लेयर्स बहुत बढ़िया हैं, बहुत मेहनत कर ली, बॉलिंग, बैटिंग, फील्डिंग सब करेक्ट है, लेकिन अगर इमोशनली कनेक्ट नहीं करोगे तो आप क्या, कोई फायदा ही नहीं है इन सब चीजों का. एंड अल्टीमेटली 83 की कहानी क्या है? इट्स प्योर अनअडल्टरेटेड इमोशन एंड पैशन. When I was in school on the 25th of June 1983, watching, because I was in Hyderabad, my grandfather's, joint family, I was at that point in time, हम छुट्टी पे गए हुए थे. मैं सोच रहा था कि यार ये सब लोग पागल क्यों हो गए हैं? Why are the grown up men in my family crying? Why are people running up and down the streets? हो क्या रहा है? अगर वो इमोशन मैं रिक्रिएट नहीं कर पाता तो ये सब क्रिकेट खेलने का कोई फायदा नहीं होता. So that I think was very important for me as a writer and as a director, that ultimately the emotion has to work. You can replace the cricket with kabaddi, the emotion has to work, because ultimately that's what you will get up from. I can't make a film for cricket buffs. उनके लिए तो मैं आधे घंटे का टनब्रिज वेल्स दिखा दूं, वो खुश होके चले जाएंगे. But it's the emotion that had to work. And what I'm really happy about is how deeply and how emotionally this film has connected with the audience of people who absolutely have no passion for cricket, for people who don't watch cricket. And that was my challenge, and that is what I'm happiest about. That the strongest emotions I've got is from people who never watch cricket, because they said we never expected this. हमने सोचा कि हम चलो देख रहे हैं इसमें, actors अच्छे लग रहे हैं, बड़ी film है, it's a much talked about film, but they said we never expected to be so moved by what was happening on the field. There's one comment which a friend of mine made, which I'll always remember, and she said that I was not one of those people who hated cricket. I'm not one of those people who disliked cricket. I was one of those who hated cricket. जब घर पे टीवी चलाते थे क्रिकेट देखने के लिए तो मैं रोने लगती थी. I used to get upset. I used to go off to my room and everything. And she said, watching your film was a life-altering experience for me, क्योंकि जैसे मैं देख रही थी, मैंने देखा कि यार अगर if this is the emotion that cricket evokes, then have I missed out on a large part of my life? Have I missed out on something which could have been a very enriching part of my life? So I think those kind of emotions is what really makes that response so overwhelming.
And I think multiple levels पे बहुत सी चीजों के बारे में आपने बात करी है, which I think is expected from you. But before you move to that, would you say that this is your best film yet as a director?
Very difficult to say that, Faridoon, because ultimately others have to decide that. But if I was to judge from the point of view that a filmmaker can judge that what I set out to make and how much of it did I achieve, then yes. 83 is definitely a film that was always in my control, and even 1% didn't slip out. क्या होता है कि कभी-कभी आप फिल्म बनाते हैं, आपको पता है कि यार ये सीन ना थोड़ा सा फिसल गया मेरे हाथ से. It didn't land the way it should land. 83, I own every second of 83. Good or bad, I own every second of 83. It's exactly the way I wanted it, and it's come out exactly the way I'd envisioned it. So if you judge it from that parameter, then definitely it's my best film.
Right. I think वो control वाली बात आपने सही कही, that it's something that you're completely in control at all points of time, and which is, I think, which is very, very interesting. Okay, and आप एक डॉक्यूमेंट्री फिल्म मेकर रह चुके हैं. आई थिंक मेरे ख्याल से ये जिस तरीके से आपने एक डॉक्यूमेंट के एलिमेंट को आपने जो कंबाइन किया है एक डे एंड एज से, वो आई थिंक बहुत ही खूबसूरत है. जब वो टीम पिक्चर क्लिक हो रही है, और मान सिंह साहब के आगे रवि शास्त्री आ जाते हैं, and मान सिंह साहब थोड़ा सा साइड में होते हैं, and then suddenly you have the actual picture. See, in the press show, people started clapping. Yeah, and there were many such moments when Kapil Dev comes during the 175 knock. People start clapping. So that's beautifully done. And I think वो एक element भी, I think as a in terms of film grammar, I think एक बहुत unique तरीके का experiment.
I think ये सब ना research से आया था फरीदून. I think this is why I always feel that research always helps. आप कोई भी कहानी सुनाओ, अगर आप in depth research करोगे ना, इस किस्म की छोटी छोटी चीजें आने लगती है. अब फॉर एग्जाम्पल अब वो फोटो तो था हमारे पास, अब बिना वो मोमेंट जाने भी वो फोटो हम इस्तेमाल कर सकते थे कि यार वो लॉर्ड्स गए और वो एक आइकॉनिक फोटो ली जाती है टीम्स की, तो वहां पे गए. लेकिन आप रिसर्च में जब चीजों को बार बार हर चीज को बारीकी से देखोगे तो आप बोलोगे यार ये मान सर ऐसे ऐसे क्यों खड़े हुए हैं, ये ऐसे उनके कंधे के अक्रॉस क्यों देख रहे हैं. तो देन यू रीच आउट टू मान सिंह एंड से सर आप ऐसे क्यों खड़े थे, आप थोड़ा तो ऐसे साइड में आ जाते या कुछ एडजस्ट कर लेते. अजीब से आप मतलब ऐसे झुक के देख रहे हैं. तो सर अरे मैं क्या करूं, वो लंबू मेरे सामने आ गया, मेरे को कैसे देखते. सो सडनली आई एज अ स्टोरी टेलर गेट अ मोमेंट, I said, oh, is this what happened? He said, हाँ मैं तो खड़ा था, वो आया 6 फीट 3 इंच का लंबू, मैं कैसे देखूंगा फोटो में. तो मैं उसको बोला, तो उन्हें बोला मान भाई थोड़ा साइड में आ जाओ. तो मैं जैसी फोटो खींचा मैं साइड. Now that little moment becomes such a great scene in the film. So I think this is what research does. You keep digging, you keep digging, you keep digging, and these guys, because see, you're speaking to the players, right? And you're telling them कि आपके साथ जो 40 साल पहले हुआ था, अब आप हमें बताइए. अब वो बता रहे हैं जो भी याद है थोड़ा बहुत, लेकिन वो स्टोरी टेलर्स नहीं है, तो उनको नहीं मालूम कि what will lend itself to a nice scene, or what will lend itself to a funny scene, or what will lend itself to an emotional scene. Like बलविंदर सिंह सांधू, मैं उनके साथ ऑलरेडी, क्योंकि हमारे कोच थे, तो मैं 4 महीने से उनके साथ काम किया जा रहा था और बातें करते. तो मैं क्या करता था, मैं हर मैच के ना स्टैटिस्टिक्स देखता रहता था और कहता विच प्लेयर डिड वेल, विच प्लेयर डिडंट डू वेल इन दैट मैच, सो विल दैट लीड टू समथिंग. So I was remember sitting in one day in my office and I said, Ballu sir, I was looking at the statistics of the semi-finals and I said, Ballu sir, semi-final में आपने कुछ नहीं किया. तो इस अरे यार मत पूछो. ऐसे क्यों, क्या हुआ? इस अरे वो सगाई टूट गई थी ना मेरी. ऐसे क्या? तो ही सेड वो मेरी सगाई टूट गई थी सेमीफाइनल से पहले. तो ऐसे बल्लू सर ये आप मुझे कब बताने वाले थे? तो ही सेड इसमें क्या बताने की बात है यार, वो ऐसे फोन आया, उन्होंने बोला कि तुम्हारा तो घर बहुत छोटा है. So he didn't realize that how brilliant a story that can become as to what happened, how his emotional character, emotional graph of his character. So these are the kind of things I said, if you keep digging, keep digging, they come out. And that's what happened in 83. 2 साल जो हमने we went and met people. वो जो characters हैं, Tur और Gil, जो they start with being very in a certain sense cynical about the chances of the Indian team. जो कहता है ना एक मैच तो जीत के जाओ, and finally they start following them right till the end. ये असली characters हैं. ये आज ये लंदन में मिले थे मुझे. They're still very close friends with Kapil Dev. And once I managed to track them down, I got so many stories from them. So I think that is the why deep research really helps you.
And small vignettes like the fact that Balwinder Singh Sandhu's 9 or 10 runs in the finale, how crucial they were in India winning it, and what he went through.
Yes.
So that's beautifully incorporated as well.
Absolutely. And these are the little ones, as you absolutely said, right? ठीक है, 183 हमारा स्कोर था, वो low score था, लेकिन what they don't realize is when the last batsman went in, 161 पे थे हम. Oh, 161 से 183 is worth its weight in gold. So I think these are the little things that people then, because otherwise you would not remember these things. But when you see the film, you say, okay, that was such a brave sort of stand by those two, the last two, against the pacers who were not letting up. वो moment भी है where Dickie Bird actually tells him, and this verbatim what Dickie Bird said, that I'm not going to have you bowling bouncers at number 10. It's just not done. So the pacers are not letting up. Marshall was not letting up just because the last batsman is in.
I think बात करने को तो हम लोग बहुत डिटेल में बात कर सकते हैं. This entire social element that Indira Gandhi telling the team that the riots are going on, it's time to bring people, distract people, and I think बहुत दिलचस्प तरीका है कि distract करने का भी, और in a way to just bring people together. So there is that social messaging which is important as well, that this is what the leaders can do as well, bring people together.
So the social political messaging is always important, Faridoon. For me, as I said, 83 is not just a story of a team; it's a story of a coming of age of a nation. And why do we remember 83? We remember 83 because it made all of us have a certain sense of belief in ourselves, right? It made us believe that Indians can do it on the world stage. So it was very important for me always to show that not only what is happening on the pitch, but what are the events on the pitch? How are they changing the country? So that kind of social messaging, that how sports can unite people, how we get a common cause for celebration, all those little layers that are running in the film, those are extremely important, because I think they also in a certain sense lead to the sort of emotional effect that the film has also.
No, absolutely. Obviously, you guys must not be happy with the way the film has run. You definitely would have wanted much more. So you feel then this entire Omicron and the entire night curfews, did they dampen the effect for you guys?
It definitely did, Faridoon. I mean, let's face it, that the point is that the day we released is the day, two states went into night curfews. By day 2, 6 states cancelled our night shows. By day 4, a territory like Delhi shut down all theatres. Every single theatre was shut down on the 4th day of our release. So obviously that's going to have a huge effect on the film and the way people are going to have the courage to come out to watch the film. And because it's not only a question of theatre shutting down, it also creates a whole sense of paranoia and fear. From our day 1 to day 10, it jumped from 6,000 cases a day to more than 1 lakh. So of course, I think that sense of disappointment that the timing went all wrong. The film has become a huge victim of the third wave. Every film that was scheduled after us has moved away, and rightfully so, because everyone realized that it's definitely not the right conditions for a film to be released in. But having said that, it's such a larger phenomena than just something that's affecting film screenings, right? So beyond the point, I think it would be petty to sit down and keep saying that we've got hit by pandemic and beyond. That's why I'm taking away the good and letting go of the bad. I think I'm just totally overwhelmed by the love and appreciation that this film has got, and it's still getting. Even now, fortunately, we've taken a decision that even till the last 2 theaters are open, we shall be in the theaters and keep running. So wherever people are getting access to theaters, on a daily basis, I'm still getting so many messages and videos and emails, and so I think that's ultimately what I'm taking away from this.
When are your plans for satellite and digital release then? Any plans?
So I think now we definitely want to have our 8-week run for sure. As I said, we are here because wherever there are internationally, for example, the restrictions are far less. So we're doing well internationally. We're keeping our film running here. In India, of course, as I said, literally on a daily basis, some new markets keep shutting down. But we're there. As I said, we'll be there at least for 8 weeks. So in case the numbers go down and some places restart, like Delhi, for example, at the end of the day, only got a 3-day run. And Delhi is such a large territory that in 3 days, how many people could have seen it, right? So maybe if things become better in the next 2-3 weeks and they decide to reopen the theaters, we might get people coming back. But I think these are things beyond anyone's control, beyond that we could have ever imagined. But I think it's only after the theatrical run is over that we shall be coming into the OTTs. And then, of course, once it comes on the OTTs, many more people will be able to see it in the safety of their homes.
Right. And Kabir, this is also an opinion that maybe the film could have been marketed better. It's such a huge film, but maybe the marketing was lacking in a way.
Yes, I mean that is something that I've heard. But having said that, there was certain conscious decisions that we've taken to not push beyond the point, because we are at the end of the day, living in a pandemic. So we didn't want to be too, ambitious in terms of doing too many physical congregations or exposing too many people to large gatherings. So yeah, maybe in retrospect, that is something once the dust settles, one can look at how to sort of analyze how the marketing was. But having said that, films have worked with zero marketing also. Ultimately, I think what works is the word of mouth. And the word of mouth of this film was extraordinary. So I still believe that, had conditions been all right, even with lesser marketing, we would have still, got the numbers. Because I mean, I hate to say it myself because it's my film, but the word of mouth of this film is unbelievable. It's anybody who has ventured into the theater will only come out, singing praises of the film. So, but that word of mouth will really not be able to lead to anything unless there is access to theaters, right? Like, for example, if people in Delhi are hearing great word of mouth, but from day 4 they cannot even go to a theater. Some were in fact going to Gurgaon for the next 3-4 days, but then Gurgaon also shut down. So that is, I mean, something that we cannot at all ignore. The effect of the pandemic is huge on this film. But as I said, one can't just sit and keep crying about that. That's the destiny of the film. But I'm just happy about the fact that it's a film that's really now deeply entrenched in the minds of people. Whoever has gone and seen it have really come with an amazing love, amazing sort of appreciation for it, and I'm sure that will, go a long, long way.
Okay, and Kabir, I had a very strange experience. I've been covering movies for a really long time, and I came across these identical media stories, and they were similar. कि पिक्चर विराट कोहली के बारे में होती या धोनी के बारे में होती तो उसका और ज्यादा इम्पैक्ट होता, बिकॉज वो यूथ जो है वो ज्यादा केटर करते. कपिल देव 40 साल पहले की कहानी है, तो मे बी शायद यूथ जो है वो उतना उसको रिलेट नहीं कर पाए. सो आई वाज थिंकिंग कि उस लिहाज से लगान तो फिर फ्लॉप हो जाना चाहिए. वो तो बहुत ही पुरानी पिक्चर थी.
As I said, I think it's a sometimes just people overactive imagination, and they start putting their opinions out. As you said, if it was about Kapil Dev was 40 years ago, then Milka Singh was 60 years ago. Lagan to phir, there's no hope in hell. So I think it's analysts trying to imagine that they know what the youth likes and what youth doesn't like. Youth का मतलब ये नहीं होता कि वो सिर्फ youth की picture देखेंगे. Any film that does well today is a film that's been appreciated by the youth. Otherwise, it will not do well at all. And it's not, if you see the list of the films that have done well, they're not only about just contemporary characters or about the youth. It could be about, any Dangal is a character. It's not about the youth. That is done well. Bajrangi is not a character which is a youthful character. That's done so well. So I don't believe in these kind of very simplistic analysis of films. Oh, this didn't work because of that. And also, I'm finding it really amusing. Now I'm finding amusing. I was finding it a little distasteful initially that some of the analysis is not even taking into account, or they're pretending that the pandemic doesn't exist. मतलब आप एक किसी दिन का number or day 5 is number this, not satisfactory. But you are not at all putting into context that half the theaters are shut down or are under restrictions or under the night curfew. No reference to the pandemic. But they are comparing it to the run of another film which is running in normal times. They're comparing the run of 83 to that film without even as much as mentioning the pandemic or the restrictions that come with the pandemic or the psyche of the audience that comes with the pandemic. So I think these are things which, as I said, for those who are indulging in that, all I can say is that they're not being true to their profession, because it's just it's dishonest reporting. It's not honest reporting. It's not ethical reporting, and that is how their credibility will be decided ultimately.
So I have a colleague. He's 24 years of age. So he told me that I saw 83 for the first time, and when I saw it the second time, I liked it even more. And मुझे तो ये baffling लगा कि ये youngsters के लिए, अगर ये picture youngsters के लिए नहीं है, तो फिर कौन सी picture होगी youngsters के लिए?
तो फरीदून, मुझे तो अभी तक एक youngster ने आके नहीं बोला कि it didn't work for us. The bulk of the messages that I'm getting are actually from people who are in their 20s. Who are saying that, oh my God, we didn't even know this happened in 83. And for us to discover this through your film was unbelievable. So I don't know which youth these analysts talk about. As I said, it's very easy to sit and pontificate and give these things. Firstly, I'm sorry to say a lot of them are film illiterate. So it's for them to just give these kind of, just analysis with no sort of backing of it with any research, no backing of it of any logic. I don't take these very seriously at all. And as I said, for me, the most baffling aspect of it is that you choose to not even mention the pandemic. And exactly. if you do that, then there's something very dishonest about you.
I also read about that music ke baare mein. And I feel that when you watch the film, the music plays such an important role. I think every song, it is having a story in its own way, and it literally moves you. मुझे तो, I personally like music very much, but do you take that criticism
No,
seriously?
not at all. I
Do you
think
think that it's
the songs that we've used and the songs that Pritam has created for this film are so strongly taking the storytelling forward, which is exactly the way I wanted to use them in 83. Remember, 83 में आप lip sync songs तो डाल नहीं सकते. लोग जूते मारेंगे अगर आपने कपिल देव को दिखा दिया कि गा रहे हैं वो lip sync गाना गा रहे हैं. So it was always supposed to be used as, background songs, like an official soundtrack. And I think it's done a fantastic job in taking the storytelling forward. There are matches that are cut to songs which make you believe, which make you feel the emotion that you want to feel in those songs. So absolutely not. As I said, it's unfortunately because of the pandemic, the numbers have not come because people don't have access to theaters. So a lot of people are trying to put their 2-bit analysis onto it. And I guess it's valid for them to say what they feel is correct, but I don't agree with all these analysis. I still feel it's a film that, yes, as you said, has a great repeat value. It has incredible word of mouth, and we have been in the business long enough, Faridoon, to know that something that has such an immense word of mouth and which has such an immense repeat value, nothing can stop it except a pandemic where the access to theaters is shut down. लाइक अब आप बोल रहे हैं कि दिल्ली में लोग नहीं देखने जा रहे तो कैसे देखने जाएंगे आप तीसरे दिन के बाद तो चांस ही नहीं है आपके पास.
So Kabir, do you also feel that these media stories that are coming up, do you think that somewhere the fact that you have certain opinions about social issues, that has played a role as well? And do you think that maybe it's not a good idea to really
I'm not sure of
express
that,
yourself?
Faridoon. I'm not. No, that I would never do. I mean, not I would never allow myself not to express my views on my opinions on things because of things like these social media stories. Because I firstly don't take them too seriously. I don't seek them out too much. I don't read them too much. So that I would never do. But I really can't say. This is something that, yes, if you think that people would attack you or your film because of some views that you've had in the past, I mean I think that's their point of view. They can sort of do that. It's as I said, social media is a democratic platform. They can put out whatever they want. But I think ultimately a good film can never be stopped. So no matter what you do at social media, I don't think anything can stop a good film. Now, yes, of course, a good film can be stopped from getting numbers because there is no access to theaters, which is what has happened with 83. But word of mouth cannot be stopped. That's not stopping. It's going on and on. Even today, when I do interviews with people, some of the journalists who open up the interviews actually begin the interviews by telling me the experience they personally had while watching this film. So I think that is what 83 as a film has gone into. I don't think 83 as a film can now be stopped just by a few sort of trade analysis. It's a film that's, I think, captured the imagination of the country, and I'm really happy about that because I think it's an ode to the original 1983 team, and I'm so happy that they are getting so much of love because they share a lot of the messages they get on a daily basis, and that's really, for me, the most enriching part of the experience.
Did you show the film to Rajnikant sir?
No, he went and saw it on his own, which I think was
incredible. I have not seen Rajnikant sir commenting on a film like this.
And
he's a shy person. He's inherently a shy person. He's not a. He's got this gregarious personality and this larger than life personality.
Yes.
But many people have commented. But
Rajni sir was what talking about. We did not even organize a screening for Rajnikant sir. He went and saw it, and he got so moved that he decided to tweet about it. Or Sachin Tendulkar. We did not organize a screening for him. He saw it and he tweeted about it, or a Virat Kohli, or Kamal Hassan sir. He had a 20-minute conversation with me about it. So to get a call from people like those, whose films you've grown up admiring and studying, and them talking about how them talking about the craft that has been used by me, nothing can replace that, Faridoon. At the end of the day, this is what you carry with you, right? And 83 has given me so much of that. Every day I get at least 1 or 2 calls like this from people who are still, because obviously the access has been slow, right? People are taking time. There's one who told me, in fact, wrote me a long letter and said that, he was waiting for the crowds to thin out a little because he wanted to go see the film because he was a little afraid of the pandemic. But he said then suddenly Delhi announced that it's shutting tomorrow. He said, I just wore literally 3 masks and I went for the last show to see it. And then he wrote me such a long letter about the film and the experience that he had while watching it. School children, they've been expressing what they felt. I myself actually been going to some of the theaters and seeing firsthand the community experience that people are going through. We wanted theaters to become stadiums when people watch this, and that is something that I'm really happy that we managed to get, because when you watch it with people in the theaters, there's a certain collective catharsis that people are going through. They're clapping, they're whistling, they're crying, there are people waving the flag. I think, and that, therefore, I'm really glad that even though we could not reach every theater, wherever we've been able to reach people through the theatrical experience, I'm really glad that we came out. And however many people could see it in the theaters is something that I think they will remember for a long time.
From my experience, I can genuinely feel, and I hope that it happens, that a film like this, एक अच्छी film जो है वो अपनी audience तलाश कर लेगी, चाहे वो उसको जितने भी, और वो लंबे टाइम, ये पिक्चर तो बहुत बहुत सालों जिंदा रहने वाली है. इसमें मुझे, I personally, with my experience, I don't think I have any doubt whatsoever. एक जो कमाल की जो एक बात है जो इस फिल्म से आ रही है, और जो एक इस टीम की 83 की टीम की जो स्पिरिट थी, and it is so hugely inspiring. At one of the interviews where the original team and the film team, when they came together, when you were there as well, and Kirti Azad Saab said that we should have a 1 minute silence for Yashpal Sharma. That is the spirit. They are still together. That element of respect and bonhomie, and it's amazing, and it's so inspiring, and I think so many people can learn from.
Absolutely, and it was one of the. That was something that I really needed to capture in 83. And from the word go, my attempt was that unless I am able to capture the team spirit that they still have, they still have a WhatsApp group called Champions Forever. Just rose baate karte hain. So I said that, this is something that the boys who are portraying them need to imbibe. And for that, I'm so glad I undertook this one endeavor where I took all of them to Dharamshala, with beautiful, stadium over there. And we stayed there for 2 weeks, like a team. All the boys, we would get up at 5 in the morning, sit in a bus, a team bus, drive to the stadium, play cricket for 4 hours, come back, have lunch together. In the afternoon, every day, one member of the 1983 team would come and talk to us about their experiences, their views. Then we would go back in the evening and play cricket for 2-3 hours again, then come back, have dinner together, go to sleep, again get up at 5 in the morning. That really is where the film came together. By the time we ended that 14-day workshop, they had become a team, and that's for you to, everybody can see that on the screen. How beautifully the boys have come together as a team.
No, absolutely. And so, Kabir, what next after this? इसके बाद आप क्या करना चाहते हैं?
So, Faridoon, working on a couple of ideas, still very nascent stage, taking some time to sort of, mull over them, and see which one excites me the most. And then the whole process of writing begins, writing, casting, the usual sort of drill. But got a couple of ideas that I'm working on. Let's see what excites me first.
One last question. How important is courage for you as a person, as a filmmaker, and why do you think it is important for you to always keep it intact and maybe make it stronger to grow as a creative person?
Ultimately, what you're leaving behind, Faridoon, is a legacy, right? You're not just leaving behind individual films or your work. You're leaving behind a whole legacy, and when you leave behind a legacy, your ideology needs to come through that. Right, that's very important, because if you don't have an ideology, then what do you have? So it's very important to have the courage to stand by your ideology, have the courage to be able to take a stand, take a position. I'm not saying you have to be confrontationist or you have to be hostile to people, but you have to believe in what your beliefs are. You have to stand by them, And for that, sometimes courage is important. And I think courage is very important for any storyteller, because if you don't have courage, sometimes you will not be able to pick up stories that you want to tell. You need that courage to be able to stand by a story that excites you and tell it the way it should be told, because that is ultimately the legacy that you're leaving behind.
That's amazing. So, Kabir Khan, as always, wonderful talking to you. Congratulations for 83 and all the best wishes for all the wonderful things that you must be planning. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Faridoon.